Nothing good is going to come out of it unless they keep fighting all the way with it till they wipe them all out.
There's only one way to deal with the cancer. You burn it out or you remove it.
They are forcing us to kill their children to defend our children, yes.
Wherever there is terror, no matter where they hide, you got to get them out.
I think they should just clear off all the city. Just take it off the ground.
Kill them.
War now.
With the propaganda war, Israel is the one that disseminated a video of Hamas shooting rockets from a school, a video that's almost 2 years old, claiming that the video was taken a day or two earlier.
And you actually, by the age of nine or so, you had read Crime and Punishment, Dostoevsky's. Yes. At that age, what did it do for you?
I couldn't sleep at night. I was very sensitive.
Mr. Regev, I just wondered whether you, looking at this now, are personally proud of what Israel has achieved, given that there are more than 1,000 Palestinian dead, 346 of them are children, 79 women are dead, 13 medical workers are killed, 16 ambulances destroyed, UN schools and other buildings attacked. Are you proud of all that?
Why on earth Israeli Defence Forces wish to interfere and prevent the Red Cross reaching dead and wounded civilians?
I would like to see the whole of the Middle East entering a new age.
They are being trapped in this open-air prison for decades, and they cannot eat, they cannot have medicine, they cannot go in, they cannot go out. We lock them there in a big ghetto, and we have to put the words in a very clear context. We are locking this 1.5 million people for so long, and we treat them as animals.
Approximately a third appear to be civilians.
No civilians.
There was no blockade.
There was a blockade of Gaza from the sea, from the land and from the air. There was a denial of the right of people of Gaza to travel outside of the Gaza Strip. There was a denial of the right of Gaza to export its products from any industries that exist in Gaza, hence the economic collapse that's going on. There was also an active policy of preventing sufficient levels of food, medicine, energy and other supplies getting into Gaza. Hence we have a humanitarian crisis, hence we have massive levels of unemployment, hence we have an awful lot of very angry people. You cannot imprison 1.5 million people and not expect them to get very angry about it. That's exactly what Israel did. That is why the ceasefire broke down.
Israel imposed its blockade on the Gaza Strip after Hamas was elected in 2006. The withholding of supplies and increased control of its residents effectively turned Gaza into the world's largest open-air prison.
How do you make peace if you don't want to talk to your enemies? I mean, whatever the West and Israel thinks, Hamas won elections fair and square. So should Israel engage with the democratically elected leaders of Hamas?
Israel should, the United States should, and the European Union should. And we had a brief opportunity 2 years ago when the Palestinian Unity Government was formed with Ismail Haniyeh as its Prime Minister. None of these bodies agreed to talk with that organisation. It collapsed, of course.
Before Hamas took full control in June 2007, Gazans were already facing many hardships, and as a result, of that. And unemployment is about 65%, and poverty is on the rise. More than 80% of Gazans rely on humanitarian aid. And if that's not enough, the scarcity of basic supplies has resulted in a sharp rise in prices, making many of the products that are available unaffordable. The list of difficulties is long. It's the loss of land, it's the lack of clean drinking water, it's regular power cuts, it's restrictions on medical care, it's the limitation on the movement of patients. 237 Palestinians have died since October of last year due to not having access to proper health care.
I mean, we talk about negotiations between the Palestinians and the Israelis. Negotiations is one thing, but it's also very difficult to talk about negotiations when Israel is constantly creating facts on the ground. They're talking about negotiations now, and Israel has not stopped building settlements or confiscating land in the occupied Palestinian territories.
But all the time, we put the question at Hamas. Hamas must do this. Hamas must do that. Palestinians must do this or must do that. But Israel must do some things too. Every single country in the world, bar Israel, says stop your program of building settlements, lift the blockade of Gaza. And what happens? The blockade continues and the settlements continue to grow by up to 5% in this year alone, despite international condemnation. I mean, Israel, the question has to be put to Israel as well as to Hamas. What are you doing to promote a peace process?
He says stop the missile firing and work for peace with Israel and you get your own state. Why don't they have a state on the West Bank then? They have done that, and the Israelis continue to steal their land.
For months now, they targeted Israel. Israel showed restraint. We entered this truce when it was violated.
No, I don't think that they think that the truce was violated first by Hamas. I think they saw that the Hamas had observed the truce quite strictly for almost 6 months, or certainly 4 of the 6 months.
And this was the reason that last week they targeted Israel 80 rockets a day.
In May, there were 149 rocket attacks. In June, before the ceasefire started on the 18th, there were 84. In the rest of June, just 3. Throughout July, August, September and October, there were only 15 attacks, and Israel agrees that none of these rockets were fired by Hamas.
But if that was the case, there were no Hamas rockets during the ceasefire. Before November the 4th, there were no Hamas rockets for 4 months.
And that's correct.
चल छैया 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 चल छैया 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 चल छैया 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 चल छैया 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 छैया